This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double of premium original detail product for half the price. Head over to pattersoncarcare.com or go to the link in the description below. In a 2003 Volkswagen Mark IV GTI. Whenever I see a Mark IV GTI, my brain goes to the early 2000s because it's really what made me think of, oh, you can modify Volkswagens? I never really realized it because, you know, my family wasn't really into cars, so I always just assumed they built only commuter cars. So when I'm 11, 12 years old, I see people making these fast, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. The shape of this is one of my favorite shapes the GTI has ever been. The bodywork on it, the headlights, it's just a very clean and pretty car. Here's the thing though, I gotta ask the VW community, what is the fascination with airbags? Because I got to know, like, I understand that Jettas and GTIs, all of, they look good with bags. I'm not saying that, but it seems like if I meet somebody who's in the Volkswagen community, the first thing they save up for is airbags. Not wheels or tires, not brakes, nothing. They just go, we gotta drop it, dude. We gotta go to H2O and SOWO. Point of the matter is, the VW community really cherishes the Mark IV GTI, and today I'm about to find out why. This came with a 1.8 liter turbocharged engine, making like 177 horsepower, somewhere around there. It's torquey, it's pretty peppy, but a lot of people later down the road overlook the GTI and then they look for the Mark IV R32 because it's the VR6, and the VR6 is like the Volkswagen community's like all holy grail. And the great thing is that it's not just like a little turbo that doesn't do anything. There's a lot of cars that are turboed from the factory and they sound like you're going faster than you are. So much turbo noise. Another thing too to note about this one is that they only built 4,000 of these because it's the 20th anniversary edition of the GTI, and there's even a number plate on the dashboard to let you know which one you are. If you're trying to find a Mark IV GTI that hasn't been absolutely destroyed over time with upgrades and turbos and everything else, then you should probably latch on to it. There's not many of them that are just focused on performance. And people use these shells for all kinds of different stuff. And there's even one, I think, online that has 2 VR6s in it. It's crazy. There's like one in the front and one in the back. This is actually possibly my favorite body style, the GTI, other than the brand new one. Old ones I appreciate. The really old boxy ones, I appreciate those for what they are, but I really felt as though Volkswagen really came hard into the scene with this car. The steering wheel, I've noticed, is exactly the same as the Volkswagen Jetta I reviewed way back in the day, and the interior feels a lot like it. But this being a hatchback, there's more space, there's more room, it feels nice, and also this is a 2-door hatchback, so it combines the hatchback with the coupe, so it's very sleek. And also this blue color is my favorite. I absolutely, not because I'm not doing blue, but because I just really enjoy the actual shade of it. It's not too overbearing, it's like a royal blue. It's really nice and tasteful. When you pop the hood, it's a 4-cylinder with a turbo, very bare bones, 1.8 liter, but it makes all the right noises. It pops, it crackles, you barely get into boost, and it gives you a blow-off noise. Basically 200 horsepower, and it sounds like this. It's just nothing but smiles. All of the 1.8s pretty much do this. So look, I'll go into third gear, barely get in it, probably like 3 PSI. That's why I totally understand why. Oh, okay, all right. So you're gonna notice something. When I go from a dead stop, the clutch is very unforgiving. You just need to add a little bit more throttle than you're used to. So silly. What is happening? Look, if I just hold it in place, it'll like go in and out of the wastegate. It's front-wheel drive. This has 3-piece wheels on it and the airbags. The airbags, thankfully, haven't had pretty much any problems on this car, but occasionally, when you do a bag setup, you can get leaks and some other stuff. Modifying a VW, there's some stuff that comes with it. Your dashboard might turn into a Christmas tree. I've never understood, okay, I've understood it because it's like an inside joke, but the Volkswagen community always makes the joke of, oh, I got a check engine light now, it's my rite of passage. They finally did something to their car, and obviously Volkswagen's, modules and sensors goes, what is happening? What did you do? Don't touch our car, what are you thinking? But then, that's what makes it more fun. This does occasionally overboost and do some weird stuff in the power band, but as long as you're not going in and out of throttle constantly, it drives pretty smooth. At the same time, you can't open source tune these really, so it's hard to find somebody that will give you all the secrets. The only other really turbocharged Volkswagen I've driven other than a GTI was actually a VR6 swapped Jetta with a big turbo on it, and that made a really strange sound. It was really neat. Holy crap! This actually makes more turbo noise than the VR6 did, which is ridiculous because this is not a huge turbo, but this has an upgraded turbo. So we're pushing a little bit more horsepower than stock, probably like 180 to the tire, but it feels faster than that to me, honestly. When I go into third gear, it starts rowing, it starts going. Fourth gear, jeez. What? There's a reason why the GTI has been so successful for so many years, because it kind of checks everybody's boxes if they're in certain situations. If you have a family and you still want a fun car, the GTI is up there for probably the best option because it has room, it has 4 seats, it's a hatchback, you can go grocery shopping in it, and it does that. So, what more do you want? But if you're trying to get crazy bazillion horsepower out of the 1.8, I don't recommend it. It's just one of those things where bolt-ons, upgraded turbo, exhaust, make it look pretty. That's what I think you should do with this generation of the Mark IV. When it is sitting pretty, when it is sitting low, that's what I do understand, that most people just go for the suspension first, coilovers or bags. This car has such a dominant presence because if you think about it, this is the same era as people really starting to build all the sport compacts. Sure, that started in the early 90s, but this is where it was at the peak of Fast and Furious, peak of Need for Speed, and I remember seeing this car in Need for Speed Underground and being like, wait, you can build that? That's, what? I'm confused, because it would be next to a Civic or next to a Mustang. Seat-wise though, these are Recaros and stitched with a lovely GTI on them, but the thing about the Recaros in this is that they don't feel like seats that are uncomfortable, they don't feel like seats that you have to wear harnesses, and nothing like that. They're not racing seats. What? I feel like it either loves me or it hates me. Okay, I will say, absolutely no torque steer whatsoever. I am impressed about that though. Handling wise, it's on point. I really enjoy driving this already, and I'm going about 3/4 of the throttle, and it goes around turns. It doesn't have that really bad front-wheel drive understeer that a lot of cars have. Some cars I've driven this weekend, I go around a corner, I'm like, am I gonna make it? Here we go. an interesting feel to it. A lot of German cars, instead of having notchiness, they have more of like a soft feel. I know that's a hard description, but if you drive like a 335i that is manual, it'll almost be like this squishy feeling. This, the GTI, has a good shifter feel. The throw isn't too far or nothing like that. And this is my first time driving the Mark IV, and I haven't missed a shift yet. So that's pretty good. Some cars though, like the recent Viper I drove, it was nearly impossible to find each gear. It gives you so much anticipation for the next shift. Like, you cannot wait to shift just to hear that. It's like, yeah, accelerating is fun and all, but what about that next gear though? Not you. The interior though has a little bit of issues here. Some stuff, wear and tear, isn't perfect in these cars. I see a lot of VWs of this era have worn out steering wheels, especially like up here and down here, but that's just sitting in the sun over time, things of that nature. I feel like you're never at that one consistent, I'm not in boost yet. You're always in boost. All right, so Mark IV GTI. What do you guys think of it? Do you think it's worthy of the reputation it has as one of the most legendary cars VW has ever built? Do you think it's overrated? Do you think the R32 is better? Oh, just tell me everything. And on another note, if you would like, I actually have a detail brand called Patterson Car Care. In the description below, it is double the detail product for half the price, and it really helps me out, really supports the channel. And on another note, I just opened a private Discord server, and it is so much fun. So if you're into that, link in the description below as well. On that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I will see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye!